Imagine a battlefield in the dense Pacific jungle. Black smoke rises slowly. The sound of birds fades, and the ground trembles, as if something is creeping closer. Not troops, not artillery, but an American M4 Sherman tank, weighing over 30 tons. Thick steel, a large caliber cannon, then an engine that roars like a hungry monster. On the other side, a small group of Japanese soldiers stands behind the trees. Their uniforms are tattered, their faces covered in dust and wounds. They know one thing: they have no weapon that can penetrate a tank. Arisaka rifles, impossible grenades, only one or two radios for help. Destroyed. All they have is a katana, a weapon from a nearly forgotten era, a symbol of tradition that has lagged far behind the technological advances of World War. The commander of the small unit, Lieutenant Nakamura, grips his sword tremblingly. He is not a samurai. He was an engineer before the war. But in Japan at that time, the katana was more than just a weapon. It was a promise that a soldier would not allow himself to be defeated in such a humiliating manner. The Sherman drew closer. Its chains crushed tree trunks and roots, its steel body like a living, unstoppable creature. The tension rose. The young soldiers behind Nakamura began to retreat, step by step. Some whispered, "We have to run. We can't win." Others stared at the ground, resigned, waiting for the tank to come and crush them. But suddenly, something unimaginable happened. Nakamura raised his katana high and screamed. It wasn't a heroic scream from a movie. It was the scream of someone who knew that what he was doing wouldn't change the world, but it might change the fate of his comrades. He ran, alone, straight toward the tank. The tank paused for a moment, as if bewildered by this madness. Then, the machine gun in the turret began to blare. Bullets struck the ground around Nakamura, sending dirt and wood fragments into the air. But he kept running, katana raised, his eyes burning with despair. He jumped to the side of the tank, trying to climb onto Ida's strategy. The Japanese sometimes used throwing grenades into the tank's vents. But Nakamura didn't have grenades. When he swung his sword at the top of the tank, the steel didn't budge. The katana even bounced, making a loud, piercing sound that shattered the tension in the air. The tank spun rapidly. Nakamura was thrown. Dead. Not yet. He was still crawling, holding his now cracked sword. But the Sherman wouldn't give him a second chance. The steel chain slid forward, and Nakamura disappeared beneath it. The small Japanese unit froze. Kimura, the youngest soldier, struggled to catch his breath, his body trembling as he watched his commander disappear in an instant. And at this point, they did something he never expected. They lowered their weapons. They laid them on the ground. They raised their hands. Not because they were afraid of death. They had been prepared for it for a long time. But because Nakamura's death had changed something within them. For the first time, they saw with their own eyes. Ancient traditions could not withstand the new age, and dying in vain no longer seemed honorable. Empty. The American soldiers approached, confused by the Japanese surrender without a fight. But as they examined Nakamura's body, they found something that left them speechless. In his pocket was an old piece of paper, handwritten. "This war will end. No sword, no tank can change that. But maybe someone should stop running." The twist: the youngest Japanese soldier to witness his commander's death. Kimura would, years later, become one of Japan's most influential peace scholars, writing a famous book about how a single act of desperation can open people's eyes to the absurdity of war.